Thank you. Thank you. And I know I haven't met all of you, and you haven't met me, but thank you for having me. I really appreciate being here and being able to speak about this. This is the beginning of Advent, as you probably know, in the Christian liturgical calendar. And Advent is a time where we await the birth of Jesus. Oh, by the way, too, as I was preparing this, it evolved from what are you waiting for to what are we waiting for? Because I'm also waiting. I think I'm waiting for a lot of things. And so at any rate, we are in the Christian liturgical calendar awaiting the birth of Jesus. And back in the day, the Jews, before Jesus was born, were awaiting a Messiah or a Savior, someone who was going to come and probably militarily deliver them from the Romans and from that oppression. So in that day, they were waiting. And this is, of course, a time of the shortest days of the year. They're getting shorter. We tend to go inside a little more, to be more introspective, to plan a little about the future, or just to listen to our own inner voices, not just to listen to our own inner voices at this time. And we are awaiting something where there's an expectation at this time of year of a coming rebirth at some point. We don't know when necessarily. But I just thought it would be a good time to talk about what are we waiting for. So I noticed that when I was younger, as I reflected on this, I used to wait for Christmas. I was very excited. We were atheists in my household, though, so I wasn't waiting for a beautiful Christmas Eve or whatever else. I was waiting for presents. I wanted presents. I was so excited that I'd get presents. And to be fair, Santa was pretty good to me, not because I was good, but because Santa turned out to be my mother, and she wanted to gift me with things. And it was very lovely that I would open my presents on Christmas morning, and it would be so much fun. And then what? Then I'd get to play with them. What was I expecting next? Well, for friends to come over and play with my toys. And given my age, things were better made back then, so they lasted longer. I actually still have some of my children's books that I got for holidays and records. I actually still have some albums from when I was really little, maybe 3 or 4. I have a child's introduction to Mozart and Beethoven that my aunt gave me that I can't find anywhere in any playable condition, but I still have it. And I noticed that over time, what I waited for changed. It wasn't things so much, but events. I would be excitedly or eagerly awaiting a visit with a friend who had moved away, or going to the beach in the summer or the end of school, or a boyfriend, a date, or maybe a child eventually. So the things I waited for changed over time. And then I noticed that I'd be so excited about something that was about to happen, and I couldn't wait, and I'd be in great anticipation, and my body would be excited, and then the thing would come and happen, and it was over. So here I was waiting and excited and happy, eager, and then what happened? It became a memory. Some of those memories I cherish and will always cherish. But I've started to see that the waiting, as wonderful as it is, it's just a moment in time, like any moment in time. And the event is a moment in time. And the gift is a moment in time. And the way these things last is in sharing, is in being together, in remembering, in celebrating. To celebrate a life, as we did for Aurelia. In celebrating each other as we can today. In celebrating our children or not having children, in celebrating our parents and their lives, in gratitude for giving us our lives. So I still wait for things. I'm still waiting for things. I'm waiting for my body to just spontaneously heal. I'm waiting to get motivated to eat less sugar. Good luck at the holidays, right? I'm waiting to get motivated to start a business. I'm waiting for everybody in the world to understand that everything is love. I'm waiting for an end to hatred and war. But maybe I'm in a little denial about that too. Maybe my body is already healed. Or maybe this is as healed as it's going to be. Maybe sugar is actually good for me. Maybe I'll win the lottery next week and not have to work. And maybe the world is really waking up and hatred and war are fading away. And maybe they will soon be a thing of the past. But also, denial and waiting is a form of procrastination. I have to confess that even preparing to speak to you today, I put it off and I put it off because I work best under pressure, just like Charlie Brown. And whether you like me or not in this procrastination, I know some people are just done. I bet some of you have any shopping you're done. It was done before Black Friday. Gifts are wrapped in the closet, ready to go. But if you're like me, well, they're maybe bought, and maybe I'll remember to wrap them sometime by the 25th of December. Maybe even get them in the mail so they arrive wherever they're going in time for whoever's receiving them for Christmas. But I'm curious, like me, if you're waiting for things, what are you waiting for? And what are some things you're not doing because you're waiting for something else to happen first? And I'd really love you to say, if you like to, I mean really just to tell me, to tell us all, what are you waiting for in order to do something in your life? Or what are you waiting for? What are you hoping for? What expectations do you have that you're waiting to have happen? And I can come down and hear you better, and you can tell me, and I'll repeat it. Yes?
I'm waiting for divine inspiration so I can write my book.
Beautiful. Oops. Divine, sorry. I better stay here. How's this? Divine inspiration so she can write her book.
I'm waiting for the end and the beginning.
The end and the beginning. Anyone else? I better not walk past the microphones again.
Okay, I'll give you one.
Okay.
I'm waiting to love every single human being more than I do right now.
She's waiting to love every single human being more than she does right now. Yeah.
Waiting for a new job.
Waiting for a new job. These are practical and impractical, maybe, or not impractical, but things we can work for.
I'm waiting to stop waiting.
She's waiting to stop waiting. Oh, okay. Thank you. Anyone else?
I'm waiting for my daughter to have children so I have some kids to play with. But do not tell her I told you this. I'm not supposed to pressure her.
Right. That's a tough one. It's okay. They're up. Thank you.
I am waiting to be completely healed.
Completely healed. Yes. I think we all are, whatever that is for each of us. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to give this back. I'm going to use it again. Should I turn it off while I'm waiting? Okay. Come back up here. We can continue to think about that. And thank you for sharing. So Jesus, as we know, was not a militant healer, not at least as a warrior. I think Jesus was a lover. The Jews were waiting for him to save them from the Romans. Can you imagine how disappointed they were when instead he died on a cross, a death reserved for criminals and enemies of the Roman state? So 2,000 years later, we still have an expectation. There are many Christians who are waiting for Jesus to return. If any of you are waiting for Jesus to return, that's okay. I have some thoughts about that, though. A lot of Christians believe that sinners will go to hell, but they, the good guys, will be welcomed into heaven. And the liturgy, the Nicene Creed, says, he will come again in glory to judge, these are the words, the living and the dead, and his kingdom will have no end. So you can't even die and get away from this. But what stands out to you in those words? Waiting. Waiting for the arrival, the so-called second coming. Maybe it's the 100,000th coming. Maybe Jesus is always here anyway in each of us. Maybe Jesus doesn't have to come again. But for me, these words are about putting off personal responsibility. So there are a few things among these are, we're counting on Jesus, well, we are counting on God or something outside of ourselves to come and judge us and tell us what's wrong. We're waiting for Jesus or God or something outside ourselves to come and make us whole. Or we're waiting for someone or something to come and make everything right. If we're not Christian, and even if we are, maybe we're waiting for a change in political regime. Maybe we're waiting for spiritual guides to send us messages or to tell us what to do or redeem us. Maybe, as a few of us said, we're waiting for the rest of the world to wake up. Maybe we're waiting for someone to apologize to us, or for our parents or children to forgive us. Or maybe, well, you can fill in the blanks for that. Maybe we're waiting for ourselves to change into something holier, more whole, healthier, and more awakened. Maybe we're waiting for ourselves to forgive others or ourselves. Maybe we're waiting to see the world as a place of love and peace. Or maybe we're waiting to see those we perceive as enemies to be extensions of ourselves. Whatever it is we're waiting for, I've heard the teaching that if we want to see peace in the world, we have to be peace inside. I heard Saima say that about 20 years ago, and I've been thinking about it for years. When I first heard that thought, I thought, yeah, that's nice. Okay, I'll just be peace inside. Why not? And then I'd yell at someone, or I'd get in a road rage, or I wouldn't get what I wanted, and I'd let that person know how displeased I was. I'm just going to put this down. But what I've learned in these 20 years is that it starts right here, that I am the one who is responsible for peace right here. Nobody is going to come and pour peace into me. I have to do that work. And so what does that mean? It means I'm always asking questions. I'm always asking myself to wake up. I want to share something with you from one of my favorite lecturers, Anthony DeMello. He was a Jesuit priest who was excommunicated because he was so radical, and then reinstated because somebody went to the Pope and said, you can't excommunicate Anthony DeMello. So this is a transcript of some of his lectures. I'm just going to read you a little bit. Spirituality means waking up. Most people, even though they don't know it, are asleep. They're born asleep, they live asleep, they marry in their sleep, they breed children in their sleep, they die in their sleep without ever waking up. They never understand the loveliness and the beauty of this thing that we call human existence. You know, all mystics, Catholic, Christian, non-Christian, no matter what their theology, no matter what their religion, are unanimous on one thing, that all is well. All is well. Though everything is a mess, all is well. Strange paradox, to be sure. But tragically, most people never get to see that all is well because they are asleep. They're having a nightmare. Last year on Spanish television, I heard a story about this gentleman who knocks on his son's door. Jaime, he says, wake up. Jaime answers, I don't want to get up, Papa. The father shouts, get up, you have to go to school. Jaime says, I don't want to go to school. Why not, asks the father. 3 reasons, says Jaime. First, because it's so dull. Second, the kids tease me. And third, I hate school. And the father says, well, I'm going to give you 3 reasons why you must go to school. First, because it is your duty. Second, because you are 45 years old. And third, because you are the headmaster. Wake up. Wake up. You've grown up. You're too big to be asleep. wake up, stop playing with your toys. So here are some questions I often ask myself in order to continue this process of waking up. I'm not awakened. Please, I go back to sleep every night in front of the television. But that's fun too. Who do I need to be to see peace in the world? Sorry about the pops there. Who do I need to be to stop judging myself and others for our shortcomings? Who do I need to be for wars to end? To whom do I need to apologize? Whom do I need to forgive? How do I become more holy? How do I wake up? So again, this is about taking responsibility for our own being, for every relationship, and stop waiting for Jesus or someone out there to bring the love and peace and kindness and justice that we all desire to this world. It means Jesus not having to return because we figure it out. Now, I'm sure there are plenty of people who would love to meet Jesus face to face. And one of my spiritual teachers years ago asked me, "What are you going to go home and do?" And out of my atheist lips came, "I'm going to go home and see God in everybody I meet." About an hour and a half later down the road, I just started laughing hysterically because I couldn't believe I had said those words. But there they are. So how do we meet each person as if we are all God in the flesh, in present moment, in present time? When we become that love and that divinity fully, and even on the road to fully, even the tiniest bit, the day somebody cuts us off in traffic and we just go, "Oh, they must be in a hurry." Or the day our spouse, my spouse does this all the time, reminds us or comes back and reloads the dishwasher after I've put my dishes in. I can get angry, I used to, until I realized that's just how he's wired. That's not about how I loaded the dishwasher. I've been doing it for years. And he just feels a need to take care of it in a different way. Well, okay, that's a responsibility he can have. So I just put them in and plan on his rearranging them. But for many years, I got upset. He doesn't think I'm good enough. He doesn't think I know how to put a dish in the dishwasher. And that's just like the tiniest tip of the iceberg of all the places in my life where I got defensive and angry and blamed the other person for how I felt. But our feelings are our feelings, and we are responsible for how we feel them, for how we express them, and for what we do with them. So this process of awareness and awakening, and I know you all know this in this beautiful, beautiful place. It's our responsibility, and we can help each other. We can remind each other, hey, you remember you were trying to not to get angry when he put the dishes in again for you? Or when we're in a car with somebody and somebody gets really angry about that other driver. It's their problem. We cannot control what anybody else does, even though, boy, do we wish we could sometimes. So I have an image of Jesus, the Buddha, all the wise ones. They're nodding their heads to each other someday as we wake up, as we stand for others to wake up, as we come into this great love that is our being and saying, they got it. Hallelujah, they got it. We haven't quite figured this out collectively. It starts, again, with self-love. Remember that we can't put on somebody else's oxygen mask until we can breathe. Then we can work with others, seeing each other, each one, as a part of the great whole. Animate, living beings, and even the inanimate, all of it, we are all one. So when we stop waiting for someone else to make our lives better, different, for someone else to love us more than we love ourselves, for somebody to tell us who to be or how to be, and I'm talking about adults because we need guidance, but we're all children still as adults, so we still need guidance. But we get to choose to take that responsibility on, and with each other's help and with God's help, grow into awakened beings who bring love so that no one has to come anymore. We're just ready. We're just here. We're just living in this moment as loving presence, as joy and care for each being on this planet. So what are we waiting for? Thank you. That's it. Thank you.